The time is just gone 10 minutes to 10 a.m. as we head towards closure this morning. And we are going to be ending off talking with our respected, our Honorable Moulana Ebrahim Bham, who is the Secretary General of the Jamiatul Ulama South Africa and Hilaal Co-ordinator for the United Ulama Council of South Africa. Now, this comes against the background of the moon, the non-sighting of the moon in South Africa. And last night, many media houses like ourselves at Salam Media had followed the entire process and watched with interest on the sighting of the moon. But clearly, this is not without any controversy. And as I was doing the moon sighting broadcast last night, reports were coming through with countries like Zimbabwe, Tanzania, Zambia, Malawi, Botswana, Mozambique. All these countries had then confirmed moon sightings and started off with the day of Ramadan. But South Africa, the moon was not sighted, and we heard the announcement come through from Moulana Ebrahim Bham that the moon was not sighted anywhere in South Africa. And this is the reason why we are talking to unpack with Moulana in terms of the moon sighting, but also looking at some of the other issues that came out, like placing reliance on regional sightings. Moulana, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As always, welcome and jazakallah khairan so much for your time.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi to you, Inayat, and assalamu alaikum to all the listeners.
Moulana, we know for the fact that the moon was not sighted in South Africa, and that is a confirmed fact, although there were one or two that came out with regard to Pretoria, that there were some sightings that had taken place, which at this point in time cannot be confirmed. But Moulana, year in and year out, obviously this becomes a major talking point as far as South Africa is concerned and our position as far as moon sighting goes. And Moulana, just to take us through what is South Africa's position on moon sighting.
Yes, Jazakallah for the opportunity. Give me, a chance to go into history to speak about some of the way we have reached this particular consensus of keeping the sighting within South Africa. We are all aware. Let me start off by saying we know that to start off the moon, Allah Ta'ala in the Quran says, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْأَهِلَّةِ. I'm getting a slight echo. Is it still coming clear by your side?
Very clear, Moulana. You're sounding clear.
Okay. All right. If they ask you about the Hilaal crescent, the new moon, قُلْ هِيَ مَوَاقِيتُ لِلنَّاسِ وَالْحَجِّ. Tell them it is a means of determination of the month and the Hajj, meaning the determination of the ibadat. So then Allah, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, سُومُوا لِرُؤْيَتِهِ وَأَفْطَرُوا لِرُؤْيَتِهِ. Start off your fast by the sighting of the moon and break off your fast and do Eid by the sighting of the moon. That is, everyone universally accepts that. The one point is, to what extent is the situation of one sighting acceptable to another region? Now, there's a great amount of views in this particular matter. One of the views of Imam Shafi Rahmatullah Alayhi, which is his most prominent view, is that it can only be accepted within the limits of Shari'i traveling. So maybe 77 according to some according to 95. I remember Hazrat Maulana Karan Sahib telling us that at that time, that would mean that Cape Town could only accept the sighting up till Worcester. But they looked at other views to take that particular sighting further, to accept the entire South Africa. They took the views of other ulama and other scholars and other imams. The view of Imam Hanifa Rahmatullah in the Hanafi fiqh, there are two views. One is the entire horizon of the world is one horizon. So sighting anywhere in the world is acceptable to any other place as long as it is established correctly. The other view is that no, it's not one horizon. So that is also a very prominent view of Imam Muhammad and Imam Abu Yusuf Rahmatullah. The reason why I'm starting this as an introduction is to say that there is a great amount of different views among the imams with regard to what degree and to what extent you can accept the sighting. In our situation in South Africa, the Jamiatul Ulama Transvaal at that time took the view of Allama Anwar Shah Kashmiri Rahmatullah Alayhi, that there was a certain specific distance that they used to accept the moon. And according to Ulama Anwar Shah Kashmiri Rahmatullah Alayhi's understanding of the limitation and to what the extent and to the you can accept the distance, Cape Town didn't fall under that from Johannesburg. So for many years, Jamiatul Ulama Transvaal never used to accept the sighting of Cape Town. And I remember I came into South Africa after studying in 1983. It was in 1986 or 87, there was a major controversy in South Africa in Eid. South Africa had two different Eids. Johannesburg were making Eid on one day. Durban and Cape Town were making Eid on a different day. Moulana Yunus Patel Sahib Rahmatullah Alayhi used to accept the sighting of Cape Town. The Jamiatul Ulama Transvaal never used to accept the sighting of Cape Town. And it so happened that Botswana and other places, they followed Cape Town because of their affinity to the place. And it created a very bad impression. It created, again, I'm not saying who was right and wrong in that, but it just created a situation of being tense. That time, we were part of the younger ulama who said, we got together and we said, no, man, we can't have this happening. It's going to have a major repercussion in terms of how things turn out. So we started getting a consensus on the matter. So that consensus of bringing the entire South Africa under one region. So anywhere in South Africa where you see it, it is acceptable to all the ulama bodies. Took a period of time. It took us 3 years to get that particular situation. It took us 3 years to accept the entire South Africa under one region. In fact, that was only one part of creating the unity, which was for Jamiatul Ulama Transvaal to accept the sighting of Cape Town. Then, of course, we had the differences between the Sunni and the Jamiatul Ulamas. Then when the United Ulama Council of South Africa came into existence in the early 90s, then we had a joint Hilaal committee in which the ulama of the United Ulama Council of South Africa all agreed that our region would be South Africa. Now, you would recall, those people who have memories would recall that when you had that situations in 86,
Moulana, I think we have lost Moulana Bham. We're going to try and get hold of Moulana. There has been a break in communication, so we are going to try and get hold of Moulana. And just from what Moulana Ebrahim Bham was talking about, that disunity or there were different positions, for want of a better term, and I don't like to use the word disunity, but there were different positions within South Africa going back many years, and they managed to overcome that problem. And looking at the South African position in particular, the entire process was brought together under the auspices of the United Ulama Council of South Africa. I believe we have got Moulana Bham back with us. Moulana, we just lost you there for a minute, but you can continue.
So I don't know where did I get to? Was it when we got together under United Ulama Council of South Africa?
Correct, Moulana.
So United Ulama Council of South Africa, then we had the unity between the different, so the Sunnis and the Jamiat, people from MJC, people from the Deobandi background, the Brailwi background, all came together, and for 30 odd years we have had one decision. Now people don't have short memories. They don't look at the benefit of that. That where we used to be, we used to have different Eids and Ramadans in one city, in two different masajid, that the United Ulama Council brought everyone together. Then there was no real major controversy. I'm not saying that there wasn't difference of opinion, but by and large, throughout South Africa, everyone made Ramadan and Eid almost together. And we used to, like, for example, when there is this situation with regard to what's happening in UK and other places, by and large, we were spared from that most of the time, I would say 99% of the masajid read and made Ramadan and Eid on one time. Alhamdulillah, that has been reached. Now, of course, we have the age of social media. Of course, now there is a situation of considering and saying that you saw the moon in Gaborone, which is, say, it's 100 odd kilometers away from Zeros. People bring these particular type of arguments, but is that a real foolproof argument? There is no situation where it is completely foolproof. So, for example, if you, for example, make the whole SADC region into one region. Let's say we say must accept the entire SADC region. That also is not without its complications. You would recall that last year, Malawi changed their decision at midnight, right? Because of a sighting that they had got from one of the rural areas. Many of the regional countries didn't accept it. Now, sometimes we say it's very easy, accept the entire SADC. Would the South African public be comfortable that after we make a decision on the basis of rural sighting, maybe in the northern Malawi, we call everyone back and rescind the decision? Would anyone be comfortable with that? Then, of course, you have the northern Mozambique, southern Mozambique dynamic, which, of course, we all know has been a point of contention. I'm not going to say who's right and wrong. There's no foolproof method in saying that if we accept regional sighting, there's going to be consensus. And then, of course, the other argument that, Gaborone is 100 kilometers from Zeerust. Well, if you're going to accept up to, say, the end of Zambia, right? Now, the border towns of Zambia and the border towns of Tanzania might be 100 kilometers away. So Zambia can say, why must we only accept from here and we don't accept from Tanzania, which is 100 kilometers away from us? So if you look at that, there's no foolproof method of saying that there will be complete consensus on any particular formula you choose. So the Ulama here have taken a view that, listen, this is our region, right? And there is evidence which I've given to you about the view of Imam Abu Hanifa Rahmatullah Alayh. I've given you the view of Imam Shafi Rahmatullah Alayh. For the Ulama to look at that and say, see, there is in the Sharia different viewpoints with regard to the distance that you can accommodate. One view says only 70 kilometers, one only says only 95 kilometers. So the Ulama has taken this, that for our region, this is our region. We've come a long way to achieve consensus on that. Now, one of the things that you need to understand is to achieve consensus on anything, it's a process. You can't come on the eve of one sighting and say, we are all of a sudden going to now accept regional sighting.
Moulana, can I just stop you there for a minute, please, Moulana? And just to understand, we know, and you articulated the position within South Africa and the effort that it has taken to basically bring the entire process under one banner. And this is the reason why we have consensus in South Africa as a South African community. But the initiatives as far as regional sighting is concerned, and we have learned that there have been initiatives that have taken in the past where there have been discussions that have been taking place with the Ulama bodies in the other countries in the SADC region and the Southern African region. And this was an issue that was considered at that point in time. And just to understand what actually came out and, why are we in South Africa still holding on to our position? Was there any consensus reached that, they would accept South African moon sightings and we wouldn't accept this?
No, this matter has come under discussion many a times under the Southern Africa Ulama Forum. I chaired a meeting of the Hilaal in Mozambique, and there was no consensus reached. We finished 11:30, quarter to 12 in the evening. And at the end of the day, it was decided that every particular country will look at the dynamics of their own country and come to a decision. That was the decision that was made. However, having said that, we have started discussion. The difficult part is that sometimes, as I said, to achieve consensus doesn't come overnight. So we have taken, in principle, that the ulama bodies within UCSA and outside UCSA, even in this, for example, we have consulted people outside UCSA also. But we said that we've asked the Darul Iftars of all the ulama formations in UCSA to go back to the Darul Iftar and come up with suggestions to see how should we, and if we do, how can we relook at the situation. But it must be a process of taking everyone together to be able to keep that, with much effort, that unity that we have created in South Africa. So I think it is something that we need to look into, and how it will be. I can't tell you anything with regard to it, but there is a process that is underway to look at the situation.
Well, Moulana, I think this is an issue that appears to come up once or twice a year when we are citing the Ramadan moon or the Eid moon. And for the rest of the year, this discussion doesn't take place for some reason or the other. But you know it and I know it that this has become a major talking point where, it's not about just the fatwas or the Darul Iftar that you speak about, but then there are other issues, scientific and all sorts of debates have actually cropped in, which becomes major controversial issues which the Ummah cannot afford at this point in time. And just Molana, your thoughts, what will it take to accept regional sightings? And I know you mentioned the Darul Iftars, and we are guided by the scholars, by the Ulama. If these neighboring countries are prepared to adopt the rigorous and the stringent, tried and tested processes of the United Ulama Council of South Africa, will these sightings be accepted?
Well, I think the first thing that needs to happen. Firstly, I can't say with any certainty. I can't speak on behalf of UPSA at this stage. It's still in the starting processes. But I think one thing that can perhaps do is to have you can't just accept something without having a formal process. So there need to be perhaps a formal process. How do we, for example, take away some of the complications in the other regional countries? Mozambique, for example, don't always have one decision. You have two or three ulama bodies making different decisions. The same with Malawi. Like for example, in Malawi yesterday, we got the news that one group accepted it, one group didn't accept the sighting. So yes, how do we get away in terms such a situation that we don't get caught up in the complications or the difference of opinion in another country? So I think part of the process would be to have formal MOUs with and according to the Sharia with the neighboring countries, and also the other aspect would be to see how do we stay away from some of the difference of opinion that is in the other countries.
Well, Molana, I think, and I think, upfront, I think what also we all are asking for, and I think we need clarity, is, these are man-made boundaries, all the different countries. And again, it's the muftis, it's the Darul Iftars, and also to provide clarity on what constitutes a region. And how the Sharia define the scope of a region, and how the Sharia actually look at countries and man-made boundaries as well. So there's a number of issues that actually need to be looked into, and inshallah, we hope that for the and it's not about creating awareness, but to move towards fostering unity within the Muslim Ummah, and to avoid a lot of discussion. And I know, Molana, you've been on that same group, I've been on that same group. There was just so much discussion that went on for a very, very long time, and divergent views, and just to prevent all the unpleasantness that actually goes. So, inshallah, we hope that, for the sake of the Ummah, for the sake of unity within the Muslim Ummah, that these issues, inshallah, can be
Can I just
resolved.
say one more thing?
Ji,
Hello?
Maulana.
Yeah, I know. Again, we are fully again man-made boundaries. We all understand. But where do you end it off then? Do you say you accept Saudi Arabia, for example? Then what would happen is we will have such a big divide here that we will not be able to bring unity in your own country. Sometimes there are ulama formations who don't accept the neighboring countries. Now, again, I asked the question many a times, do we want to be united with Lusaka, and the masjid down the road from you in the next suburb is not making Eid with you? These are the
I
dynamics that
understand,
people
Maulana. I
understand.
understand fully well. I know where you are going to, and it's appreciated. I mean, that definitely we're not immune to what is actually happening. It can happen to us within our own towns, where you can have two Eids in one small area. I agree with you.
Jazakallah so much. And we request dua that Allah Ta'ala give us the wisdom to be able to deal with us appropriately. Jazakumullah so much.
I mean, Jazakallah as well for your time with us, Maulana, and providing clarity. And inshallah, continue making dua for us, continue making dua for the Ummah as well. Inshallah, that this may be, once again, inshallah, a blessed month of Ramadan, inshallah, so that we can enjoy the mercy and the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah. Moulana Ebrahim Bham with us this morning, providing an insight into the developments of moon sighting, and particularly looking at this huge controversial and debating issue with regard to regional moon sightings. And inshallah, we trust and hope that sanity prevails. But again, the point I am making is, why is this only a point of discussion during the month of Ramadan, or when we are sighting the moon for the month of Shawwal and the Eid moon? These are discussions that need to take place throughout the entire year. So comes Ramadan and a critical time of Ramadan, when it becomes a major talking point, this is when we sit up, we take notice, and then we have these discussions over and over again. It is a discussion that has been repeated in the past and will continue to be repeated going into the future if nothing is done about it. So these talks need to take place, and at the end of the day, we are guided by the ulama, by our respected, by our honorable ulama, inshallah, for the benefit of the Muslim ummah, and to avoid any controversy that is taking place. We will have differences of opinion. Yes, we accept that fact, and it will happen all the time. But this is a major issue that comes up over and over again. Repeatedly, it comes up, and needs to be put to bed for in more ways than one. Well, the time is just headed 12 minutes past 10. We are running a bit late, but it's time for me to sign off. And once again, it's been an absolute pleasure being in the company of our Salam Media listeners, viewers. Tomorrow, a new voice on Salam Media was the start of the month of Ramadan. We've got a brand new Ramadan programming schedule right here on Salam Media. So I will not feature on news and views, inshallah. I will be on the Iftar Drive program from 4 o'clock Mondays to Fridays, inshallah, and also look forward to the brand new lineup here at Salam Media during the month of Ramadan. We make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you, your loved ones, and the ummah at large a blessed, a peaceful, and wonderful Ramadan, filled with the mercy and the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, seeking the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And more importantly, it is a month of unity, it is a month of universal brotherhood, and also the month of the Noble Quran, and more importantly, heeding the powerful message of the Noble Quran. In talking of the Quran, next up, the final juz for the month of Shaban, juz 30 by Sheikh Ahmed Al-Ajmi. So from myself and the rest of the team, and from all of us here at Salam Media, Ramadan Kareem, Ramadan Mubarak to each and every one of you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Breaking stereotypes, moving boundaries, joining hands. Salam Media. Humanity sets the agenda.
Jews a Day is brought to you by an anonymous sponsor for the Salih Sawab of Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, all marhum and marhumin, and by the generous sponsor of Ismail and Zubaydah Muhammad of Azadville, and by Unity Foods, Unity Food Products, manufacturers of Helios pure sunflower oil and Helios margarine.